Former President Donald Trump and his running mate, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, will hold their first campaign rally together this weekend in Grand Rapids, Michigan. The rally is also Trump's first since the attempted assassination attempt against him last Saturday. The former president also gave his first speech since the attack at the RNC last night. It was the longest speech in convention history at 92 minutes. He accepted the party's nomination and began by making an appeal for national unity.
To all of the forgotten men and women who have been neglected, abandoned, and left behind, you will be forgotten no longer. We will press forward, and together we will win, win, win.
CBS News political correspondent Caitlin Huey-Burns has been covering the convention for us in Milwaukee. She remains there. So, Caitlin, that's how it started. Then he went off script. What did he say, and what's been the reaction?
Yeah, there were basically two parts of this speech, Lindsay. Leading up to it, the Trump campaign had been saying that this would be a speech about unity, that he would not mention Biden by name in the speech. Well, it only took about 20 minutes or so for that to kind of all fall apart. The first half of the speech was very poignant. Donald Trump came out to an adoring crowd and spoke for the first time publicly about that assassination attempt just 1 week ago. But then he got into kind of the traditional campaign speech. And as you know, I've covered lots and lots of these rallies, and this was very similar to the kinds of rallies and the kinds of things he's been saying at these rallies over the past several months. But this kind of capped a convention that showed the Republican Party not only united around Donald Trump, but quite frankly, excited about having him at the top of the ticket along with J.D. Vance, especially as a contrast to everything happening with the Democrats. Republicans here feel like they couldn't have scripted this week better themselves.
Yeah, it sort of feels like they've got the wind beneath their sails. Is that the general mood of the GOP right now? And is that pretty typical immediately post-convention?
You know, the conventions, as you mentioned, are a time for the party to kind of rally around the candidate. But remember, this is a party that for the past 8 years has been really struggling to find its identity and reluctant to come around to the idea, which has been pretty clear for a few years now, at least, that Donald Trump is the leader of this party. And so it was really interesting seeing, lots of lawmakers on the floor last night, even some of those who were reluctant to support Donald Trump. They have all come around. And that was kind of the focus of some of these speeches as well. So we'll see what this does in terms of moving the needle in terms of public support. But we should note that a new CBS poll came out yesterday that showed Trump edging Biden in the battleground states by about 3 points. So that's a difference from what we've seen over the past couple of weeks, and also taking a 5-point lead nationally. So we've seen some movement, even a little bit, in the polls. And the big question is, does this week have the ability to expand beyond the Republican Party base and reach out to those voters who may not have otherwise been inclined to Donald Trump, but maybe seeing what they saw this week and seeing what they're seeing in regards to the Democrats and think, well, if elections are about choices, how do I make mine?
I mean, that's kind of why his VP pick was so interesting. Yes, it could help him with younger voters, Rust Belt voters, but it wasn't really broadening the appeal that much compared to some other people who were considered at the top of that list. So that said, they're going to be appearing for the first time together at a rally tomorrow. What can we expect?
And that's right. And I'll be at that rally tomorrow. This will be the first time the ticket is officially on the campaign trail. And it will come 1 week exactly after that Butler, Pennsylvania rally and the assassination attempt. So a big part of this week and with this rally tomorrow is a way to show that this is a campaign moving forward. The former president, made a point to come here to the convention every night this week to show his supporters that he is okay being in public, that he still likes being in public and feels, safe to do so. Obviously, there was a lot of security here, as we've talked about all week. But this will be kind of a significant moment in the campaign, the idea that not only this is the first time this ticket is appearing together on the campaign trail, but also an acknowledgement that this is a campaign confident in being able to have these kinds of public campaign events moving forward in light of what happened.
Caitlin Huey-Burns, thank you so much.